Hi, everyone. Today's topic is how to discover your passion and the number one secret to finding your passion. In the Cambridge Dictionary, passion is defined as an extreme interest in or wish for doing something such as a hobby or activity, etc. This is the most common way people discover their passions through hobbies or activities they enjoy. Another way people find their passions is by accident. We have all heard of those who have gone through major life changes that resulted in the opportunity for them to be the inspiration or hope for those who are going through the same challenges. Examples of this include people who are survivors from a terminal disease or health condition, or people who have recovered from addictions that are now bringing awareness to the public to avoid the path that they have personally taken to get help and turn their lives around now. Then there are some children who know what they want to pursue for a career or passion at a very young age. I'm always amazed how those kids can have that sense of knowing at such a young age. And so yeah, I don't know what percentage of people that knew what they wanted to be when they grew up when they were kids. So that's always amazing to me that there are children out there who have a sense of knowing of what they want to be when they become an adult. So that's really amazing. And then there are those people like me who have no idea what their passions are until much later in life. For me, I didn't know what my passion was until three certain events happened in my life that kind of nudged me in the direction of my passion. These events could be thought of as coincidences, fate, or divine providence. I had experienced three of these kinds of events that led me to my passion. The first event happened about 20 years ago when my second husband at the time, who's now my ex, and I owned a pontoon boat and jet ski rental business. And one day during the tourist season, as I was doing my daily task of checking in new customers, having them sign waivers and paperwork, and going over the safety rules, what happened that day was amazing. After I finished going over all the safety precautions to a group of college guys, one of the guys spoke up and asked if I was a teacher. I curiously responded, "No, what made you ask that?" He then said, "You would make an awesome teacher. If you ever decide to teach, let me know where you're going to teach. No matter what subject, I would like to be there." I thanked the guy for his kind words and compliments. But I must tell you, I was shocked and taken aback because I wasn't anywhere near ready to be a teacher. I've never even spoken in public, so the thought of being a teacher was a little intimidating. That event gave me serious pause, and I wondered if that could have been a nudge towards my calling in life. And I just want to say that with that, in regards to that event, okay, I thought, these college kids, they're just flirting, right? They're not really, they don't mean it sincerely, right? But after those guys came back from renting the boat from us, um, the pontoon boat, the same individual came back up to me and reminded me again that if I should ever pursue a teaching career, that he would like to know what class I'm teaching so that he can participate. So I thought that was kind of weird. It, it did lend a little bit more credibility to his compliment, but I still wasn't completely convinced. I just wrote it off as he was just being a kind customer and just throwing me a compliment. After that first event, I felt challenged to conquer my fear of public speaking and joined a local Toastmasters class for 2 years and overcame my fear. During that time, with the demands and stress of the business, our marriage had fallen apart and we unfortunately divorced. It was a painful time in my life, and what helped me through the grieving process was my love of writing. Writing was like therapy for me, and a year later it led to me writing and publishing my first two books, Suffering No More and Heart and Soul. The second event happened 5 years ago after the publication of my second book. During those 5 years after the divorce, we had closed our business and I got a job working at a local hardware store as a part time cashier. In 1 week, I had two different people come along out of the blue and asked me when I was planning on publishing another book. The first person was the photographer I had hired for my front cover of my first book 5 years ago. One day he happened to be a customer at the store and came through the checkout line where I was at. He asked me when I was going to write another book. I looked at him feeling a little puzzled and confused because I didn't recognize him and asked him how did he know I was a writer. He then replied, Remember I was the photographer for the cover of your first book? I immediately smiled and said, Oh, yes, that's right. To be honest, I don't know because I haven't thought about writing another book. As he left, I shrugged it off as an odd event and didn't think too much about it. But then the third event happened a few days later during that same week. Then, when I received an email out of the blue from an old friend who I haven't heard from in a long while, the email said, Hi, Lucia, how are you doing? Just wondering when you're going to write your next book. Now, that was a complete shocker. Truth be known, I haven't even thought about writing another book, nor did I have any intention of writing another book. And by another book, I mean this would be my third book. That really struck me by surprise because I kept thinking, what were the chances of two different people asking me about writing another book within the same week? It was nothing short of a miracle that, once again, the same inner conviction that I felt from the first event was too strong to deny and write off as a fluke or mere coincidence. So if you recall, as I was just explaining in my first event, when that college guy, paid me that compliment of seeing me as a teacher, it prompted me to take up that Toastmasters class so I can learn how to get some experience into public speaking. And so that was the first event. And this second and third event was the same kind of feeling that I had. Like it was just such an odd coincidence, or maybe it wasn't a coincidence that I felt that it must have meant something than just a coincidence. I really felt the presence of God at that moment, not just nudging, but strongly urged me to write my next book. The inner conviction I felt in my heart was beyond words. So, to quiet the restlessness in my heart, I decided to write my third book, which is Kissing Frogs No More. That's the name of my third book. That was the first inkling of a hint towards my passion, but I still had no idea how the connection of teaching and writing would work together in my life. So as you can see, folks, based on these three events, it all kind of led me into this direction of sort of teaching and at the same time writing. I've always been a writer since third grade. I used to love writing, and that's something I've always loved ever since I was in third grade. So at this point in my life, after writing my third book, I still did not have a clear direction of where this was all going to take me. Okay. Fast forward to the present. 2 years ago, I started watching YouTube videos on relationships and felt inspired to write my fourth book. After I wrote my fourth book, I felt inspired to become a content creator because watching those relationship videos, I realized I wanted to do the same thing. It was really something that I was very interested in and felt a lot of passion for. So that was a clue. That was a defining moment for me. I felt intrigued seeing all these other relationship coaches online and how they were helping others and they're teaching of their wisdom and relationships. And that's something that really sparked my curiosity. And I honestly to God, I felt intrigued with that whole idea. And my aha moment was when I realized some of the relationship coaches had published one book, and I thought about the 4 books I had already published. And my thought was, if they succeeded in becoming a relationship coach with just one book published, why can't I? And what ultimately inspired me to pursue my passion was all these relationship coaches were doing this on their own without a partner. For many years leading up to that point, I was under the misconception that I couldn't do this on my own unless I had a partner to jointly do this with. You see, sometimes we can get in our own way without realizing it and hold ourselves back from pursuing our passions. I realized at that moment the challenge I was faced with. The passion I felt so strongly about was enough for me to once again face my fears and just go for it. I finally got the courage to forge ahead into the unknown and learn the ropes of how to be a content creator. And the rest is history. It's been a little over a year now since being a content creator, and I can honestly say I absolutely love it. With every video, I get to utilize creativity in both my writing skills for creating new content and creating new videos. I have no idea where this passion will lead me, but I feel in my heart I'm at home, at peace, and in the right place. I finally found my niche in this world. I feel honored to share my wisdom and help people with their relationships. It touches my heart whenever I can positively impact someone's life and provide encouragement to those who need it the most. And so I just want to stop here and say, you know, conquering fear is something that I had to do, and I think most of you can relate. If a lot of you have fears, and you I would just encourage you guys that if you sense that you want to pursue a passion in life, and you have the skills, or you need to educate yourself to further your skills to become to be able to succeed in this passion that you're doing, I encourage you to conquer your fears. Face it head on, do whatever it takes. For me, for instance, I had to learn how to um, create videos. Writing to me comes easy to me. I can write essays and articles all day long. As I shared with you earlier, I started writing when I was in third grade. So writing to me it wasn't the challenge. Okay, that's one of my talents and skills that thank God that God blessed me with. However, this whole arena of being a content creator and learning how to even become a content creator on YouTube, learning all the rules and regulations that is surrounding you know getting onto YouTube, creating a YouTube account, learning about how to film videos, how to edit videos, how to publish my videos. This is all new territory for me, and I'll be honest, I was a little intimidated. But I didn't let that stop me. I've This is not the first time that I've learned things from scratch on my own. And when I was working in the corporate world many years ago, there's been many jobs that I've undertaken in the past where I've had to start from scratch and learn the ropes and create a system of my own to do that job effectively. So, and being a small business owner, owning two small businesses in the past, that was a learning curve too. I had to learn a whole new set of skills. I had to learn about the regulations as far, learn about, where to open a business, the geographic locations, all that, right? It was a whole nother ball of wax that I had to learn. And through those jobs, being a business owner, I also continued my personal growth and spiritual growth, because through those jobs, it challenged me to be more than I was at the time. I was always been shy, if you can imagine that. I've always been a shy girl in my young adulthood. So becoming a business owner, I'm dealing with the public, right? And I had to come out of my shell and learn how to deal with the public. So everything in life, I would say, every experience that we all go through is an opportunity for us to um, learn and to capitalize on our spiritual and personal growth. So I would just encourage everybody, no matter what you pursue in life, even if you're just in a regular job or you're in a corporate job right now, um, be your best, do your best. And if that means you have to do some homework, and I would encourage you to tackle those fears. Okay. What do you got to lose, right? Um, we all have to, none of us were born uh, none of us was born with all the skills in the world, right? Even doctors, if you think of doctors and lawyers, they all have to go through training, right? Everyone has to learn a set of skills to be able to become an expert. Okay. And it takes time, it takes years and practice. Okay. Learning something is one thing, practicing and applying it is another, right? As we all know, it just requires a lot of patience and time. Okay. Um, In summary, I hope my story will inspire you to pursue your passion and know that everyone's journey is unique and the paths are unique too. And sometimes, even when there are no directions and the path seems unclear, it's important to keep walking ahead with an open heart, and your passion will someday find you when you least expect it. All of us have a story to tell, and as you journey through life, it is my hope that you will always face your fears with courage and never stop challenging yourself to be the best that you can be. And finally, the number one secret to finding your passion is follow your heart by doing the things that make you happy and touch your heart, and your heart will lead you to your passion. Let me say this again, it's worth repeating. The number one secret to finding your passion is follow your heart by doing the things that make you happy and touch your heart, and your heart will lead you to your passion. Okay? I really enjoyed this video. It was a lot of fun putting together and writing this video. So I just want to say that it's, as far as this, as far as my path goes, it definitely was not clear. Certain careers, certain, passions in life, they all have a course, right? Like if you want to be a doctor, there's education that you have to go through. There's actual a mapped out plan, right, that you can follow. Lawyers, same thing. Other jobs, but when it comes to there's other jobs, and there may be new jobs that haven't been created yet in this world. When you come across those kind of situations where it's totally new and there's not a cut path to follow, that's when you kind of have to be adventurous and really, uh, really conquer your fears and just be comfortable with the unknown. And I can honestly say from the path that I've chosen to become a content creator, it is something that is not cut and dry. Okay, there's no guarantees that if I invest so many years or take up so many courses or learning that I will be successful. Or and folks, I really believe when it comes to passions, um, it's not about the money or even the fame. I think when it comes to passion and when it comes to career, let me just step back for a second. When it comes to a career path, um, and especially if you're if you're trying to live a certain lifestyle, and if you want to have a family with kids, it does require a certain income level, and maybe and nowadays it requires a two income family. In those situations, income does play a role in the jobs that you want to select, right? But I'm talking about your passion, which is a little different. Okay, now for those of people that want to be a doctor, that's their passion. And as a matter of fact, I do know a doctor that I met a long time ago that was very passionate about being a doctor. So it was clear to me that it wasn't just a career, it was actually a passion. And here's the difference I want to impart to all of you. A career is just that. Okay. It's a job, there's a transactional it's a transactional thing between an employer and employee where you put in your time and your skills, and in return is you get compensated, right? When it comes to your passion, it's the drive and the motivation is different. Okay, it's not so much about um, income. Okay, it's not so much. It's more about it's a heart thing. I would say it's definitely it's a heart thing. Okay, whereas it's something that you feel very passionate about in your heart. Like I said, it's something that actually touches your heart and makes you happy. Okay, and you'll know it. I there's no other way to explain that. I would just say that, and it does have to do with um, things that you're a natural at. Like for instance, for me, writing was natural to me. Now, it doesn't mean that if writing isn't your thing, it doesn't mean that you can't be a successful content creator. Absolutely. I think anyone can learn skills and excel at it. Um, but so I just want to say that how you find your passion is truly if it's something that makes you happy and it touches your heart. Okay. And so I think that would be my answer. And like I just shared, at that point, if something makes you happy and it touches your heart will then lead you to your passion. And you know, the world, the universe, they all kind of work with you in this regard. Like I said, those three events, those three special events that happened to me, it all kind of nudged me in this into where I'm at right now. And it wasn't, and like I said, my path was not clear. And so my challenge was is just to be comfortable with the unknown. Even now, I've been doing this for over a little bit over a year now. I still love it. I wake up every morning. I'm just super excited to and motivated to do my next video, right? To write my next video and to um, and record it. So after a year, I still am loving this. It touches my heart. I especially feel a lot of satisfaction and happiness when the audience, people like you who contact me and let me know that you really enjoyed it and you really enjoyed the video and it helped you. Because that's the end goal, folks, is that, you know, I don't know it all, but whatever I learn in life and whatever wisdom I learn along the way, I want to pass on to everybody else. And so, and I'm always open. And obviously, we all going to learn until the day we die, right? Learning is a continual process. And so I always am excited when I learn new things. And every year I'm learning. Okay, like I shared with you this last year with my experience of my truest friend who passed away. That was a painful learning experience, one that I'll never get over, but I'm learning to live with. So, as I said, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you can resonate, please click like and click share. If you have any comments or questions, or you want to share with me and others the path that led you to your passion, please put that in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe so that you can be posted on all my upcoming videos. Okay? So, folks, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.